Fantastic. Thank you so much, Heather. And it's great to be here with everybody. And we've got a fantastic presentation for you, as Heather just said. I'm here with my esteemed colleague, Georgie, and a few others online, as well as our guests today. I'll ask them to introduce themselves in 1 second. As far as a quick introduction on who I am, I'm relatively new to Raisley, if I can still say that. It's been under a year. Raisley is relatively new to the US. We're from Australia originally, but yet growing around the world. I'm responsible for developing, managing, and overall leading the growth strategy here in the US for all-in-one fundraising platform. A little bit about me. I've got my son here who refuses to take pictures, or at least allow any good pictures. If any parents in the group here know that very well. 9 years into it, we yet to have a good one. And my daughter, only picture I can take of her is actually when she's asleep in the car with any other one of her furry friends buckled. So a little bit about me. I'm actually from DC. Spent the last 15, almost 20 years in nonprofit tech world. Convio, Blackball, most recently at PBS, and now at Raisley. So I'm excited to be here with you. You'll see this throughout the day a little bit. This is just our kind of shameless kind of request asked to connect with you. We'd love to buy a cup of coffee and have a chat about some of your fundraising goals. I'm a big coffee drinker. I'm making up for lost time since I didn't drink coffee in college. So welcome the opportunity to have another cup with you anytime along the way. Our speakers today, I'm going to ask them to do a quick introduction of who they are and where they're calling from and the organization they're calling on behalf of. So Christina, could I start with you, please?
Sure. Thanks, Chaz. I am Christina Mcphillips. I live in Atlanta, but I am also originally from the Washington, D.C. area, Maryland particularly. And I do also have two strange little creatures that live at my house, and they're cool people. Carl Bloom is a fundraising agency, so we work with PBS and NPR stations around the country. We work with library systems in North America, Habitats for Humanity, cancer organizations, and our overall goal is just to help them raise more money. And we specialize in things like Google Grants, direct mail, paid ad campaigns, things like that. So thanks for having me. I look forward to discussing Library Giving Day.
Fantastic. Aiden, I think you're top of my screen, so if you wouldn't mind a quick introduction.
Thanks, Chaz. I'm Aiden Heck, she, her. I'm the database manager at the Ali Forney Center. AFC is the nation's largest and most comprehensive service organization dedicated to housing and caring for homeless LGBTQ youth. We're the only provider in New York City that offers specialized housing to LGBTQ youth, and our services are integral since studies show that safe shelter is the most important factor in long-term success for our clients.
Great, thank you. Justine?
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Justine. I'm dialing in today from Chicago. I am from the East Coast originally, though, New Hampshire specifically. I'm here with the Foundation for Women's Cancer. I'm the Senior Associate of we are the foundation that's attached to Gynecological, and we do fundraising on their behalf for specifically research, and then as well as patient advocacy and community education.
Great, thank you so much, Justine. All right, so let's get into the day a little bit. Met the speakers. We're gonna have a quick interview or quick overview of Raisley. Just a quick word of promise, something short, nothing too long, but we want to get to the main conversation today, which is going to be the given day trends before we really dig into some of the nuts and bolts with Aiden and Justine. So big picture, Christina, and then looking into some more campaign tactical elements to really make your any campaign, but given days in particular, sing. Then as Heather had mentioned, we're going to end a little bit with some Q&A and some questions, any takeaways to be had. So with that, I do want to talk, or at least introduce Raisley. If you are familiar with Raisley, fantastic. If you're not, well, here's a great opportunity. Raisley, as we've mentioned, is a mission-driven global remote team. We're employee-owned and we're a for-purpose social enterprise from Australia. We're also very much a highly customizable platform, and that's pretty unique in the US market today. We're enabling fundraising appeals, peer-to-peer, DIY, giving days, and community fundraising campaigns. Community fundraising being DIY or at least opportunities more localized. There are no costs to Raisely. There are no contracts. There are no setup fees, nor hosting fees. And you have the freedom to cancel anytime. And so with that, we are free. And we partner with more than 1,500 charities across the world who have raised more than 300 million to date. We support ourselves, the company, and the mission of Raisely by donor tips, an optional tip to support the platform. As we look at some of the campaigns and some of the partners we've had across the globe, one of my favorite, and I think our team favorites, is Sweat the Pride, an incredibly fun campaign, working out and encouraging sort of the support and overall promotion of diversity and fighting discrimination. So an active campaign or an activity-based campaign. Certainly Surf Aid, if you're familiar with Surf Aid, this is one of their campaigns in which they are, another activity-based campaign in which they are surfing for a cause, for furthering the mission of the organization, in which dollars are raised are equating to surf lessons, essentially logged on the platform. We're also looking and working closely with One Tree Planted up in Northwest here in the US. One Tree Planted works across the world to really ensure that our environment is protected and for future generations, utilizing Raisely for appeals and appeals that go throughout the year, not just timed or specific campaign-driven appeals. We also work with UNICEF, a great partner, UNICEF Australia. And UNICEF Australia works and utilizes Raisely in many different fashions. Example here is more of a DIY or community hub, if you're familiar with Raisely. And that's really more of a passive ask, meaning allowing your fundraisers to do what they want to do when they want to do it to support your cause. That could be birthdays, that could be weddings, that could be anything along those lines. Lastly, Starlight, a great example here with a diversified peer-to-peer program, really leveraging some rock stars like Ian Thorpe to ensure that their audience can be expanded upon and grown through different activities, different opportunities to connect with new audience members. Raisely is really built as a website template. We have a starting point with templates that are offered to all of our nonprofit partners. There are 7, if not 8 templates actually just launching today, the 8th. We have a peer-to-peer template here, the Good Dog Walk. That's really a starting point. All our templates are just starting points to get with baked in best practices, ensure that you're getting off the ground in a fast and furious, successful manner. Activity-based campaigns, if you're new to activity-based campaigns, and if you're not, well, you know, the COVID and our wonderful time for the last couple of years have all introduced us to the power of activity appeals and activity peer-to-peer. We have general appeals campaigns, as well as community hub or DIY in memory, and then also our latest release, at least last month, was ticketing. So more of a traditional ticketing platform and allowing your supporters to have time entry. Think galas, think events. But as Aidan will talk and share a little bit more of how you can incorporate that functionality with any campaign that you have. Lastly, just a quick plug on the template was actually that we're actually releasing today. George and I just got notice of it this morning from our team back at home, or back in Australia, I should say. And this is the latest and greatest from Raisely from a Giving Day. Giving Day, what is important here and kind of thinking through is not only a ability to give then and there, create a team, find a team, but also what you'll see in this little purple box in this example is a matched calculator. We're very excited about that and being able to incorporate a matched giving calculator in all your campaigns. Really showcase that 2-time, 3-time gift opportunity for your donors. A couple more just quick screenshots and kind of thinking through of where we're starting off for many organizations, allowing them to customize, but as well as a leaderboard. Like with any peer-to-peer, it's important to engage audiences, not just existing, but yet existing audiences beyond friends and family. So a little bit about Raisley, but now let's go ahead and move over and transition to the main attraction. And that's our wonderful presenters today. And we're going to start off with Christina from Carl Bloom Associates.
Thanks, Chaz. So hi, I'm Christina. I've been with nonprofits all of my professional career, and Carl Bloom has been working with, I'm going to specifically focus on libraries today, but Carl Bloom has been working with libraries in the United States since 1976, and we actually helped start the New York Public Library's Friends program, which is the very first of its kind. And in the time that we've worked with libraries, we've done a lot of direct mail and email and other fundraising campaigns. But in recent years, we've formed a really good friendship with another group at the Seattle Public Library Foundation. And together, we and the folks there have developed a fundraising conference that's designed to really help libraries understand how they can advocate on their own behalf, how they can raise more funds, how they can get together and network. And so since 2017, we've met every summer, except for during COVID, we met virtually, and all of the libraries in the States and in Canada have come together and said, how can we just really get the word out there, because not a lot of people know that libraries actually are nonprofits and that you can give to them. So when we were together in 2018, the question was posed to the vast audience, would you like to have your own day of giving similar to Giving Tuesday? And the group said, absolutely, we would love to do that. So we at Carl Bloom have the capacity and the ability to create a website, graphics, a toolkit, all kinds of things so that libraries could essentially have their own day of giving. All of that is free, and we're happy to provide it. And we provide tips and tricks on how they can move their day of giving along. So it is, Library Giving Day is the first Wednesday of April every single year. And it's been pretty great so far. So let me talk a little bit more about what we do for Library Giving Day. Next slide, sir. Yeah. So the first thing we wanted to do is, it's a grassroots movement. It is completely optional for the libraries that are participating. So we said, hey, everybody, as a sign of kind of solidarity, sign your library up, say that you're participating. Let's see how many libraries do want to participate. And so we came up with, on the website for Library Giving Day, just this really simple map of, you could put in the address of your library or your foundation, and that would signal to other libraries that you are participating, but also to your own community that you are participating. And so here we are 5 years in, and this is the number of libraries that participate in the United States and Canada. So it's been a really good experience. There's no reason to not join. You can do any level of fundraising around Library Giving Day that you want to. And so, of course, in the early years, we had very few folks participating, and they really didn't know where to start. So we developed materials for them. So this was, for example, one of the emails that we did posters, we made logos, we encouraged them to do things within their own library branches. So maybe that was wearing buttons or t-shirts or having a pizza party or having a contest, you know, kind of small local grassroots stuff. And as time has gone on, a lot of libraries have done more and more things. But we know that as a foundation, all of the libraries that are participating can access these free tools on our website. Some of them are one-person shops, and you might be out there too thinking, well, how can I participate in a day of giving when it's just me and there's no one else? And one thing I like to say to put it in perspective is, our first year, we maybe had a few dozen libraries participating, and they had something like this to access, and it was really great free thing for them to do, and it looked polished and professional. And as the years went on, more and more organizations started to participate, and that really got the word out. And so kind of bring it back to what I was saying a moment ago is, it's really fine to start out small and to not have your day of giving be very successful in the beginning. You know, think of it as something you're going to be doing over the years. So let's talk a little bit about how it's been going and what the results are. Okay, so this past year, or this year, Wednesday, April 6, 2022 was our Library Giving Day. It was our 4th Library Giving Day. And then, as I said, hundreds of libraries participated, and you yourself can go to librarygivingday.org. And I encourage you, if you'd like to download the toolkit that's on there and kind of switch it over and put it in context for yourself, for your own kind of organization, the step-by-step instructions in there are good for any kind of nonprofit. You know, how to do a press release, how to post on Twitter, how to post on Facebook, the things you should say, how far out you should start. Like, it's all there for you, and I hope you can use that as an easy guide. We only want to further your mission, so I hope that that is something that everyone is able to do. Let me talk a little bit about how it's been going. So this is how libraries reported to us at Carl Bloom that they are promoting Library Giving Day. So obviously social media has been a big way to say Library Giving Day is going on. Hey community, please make your gift. Go into our toolkit and you can actually see how to phrase the different social media posts, you know, all free there for you to use. Of course, different libraries were putting up banners and graphics and things like that on their websites, which is great because someone in your community is going to Google you, look at your website, you want to have a corresponding banner saying that the campaign is going on and that you're participating. Different libraries had different displays for foot traffic. We know that cardholders or patrons of the library that are using their services, a lot of times they don't realize that the library, like I said, is a nonprofit and can receive donations. They just think that it's a government entity that you can go to and get free reading materials and to say to that person, hey, you loved coming to the library today and getting something for yourself, but did you know we're a nonprofit? It's really an awareness builder. So a lot of libraries had displays saying that they were participating in Library Giving Day. Email was really big. A lot of libraries have, of course, many hundreds of thousands of cardholders in the cities that they're in, and they started sending out emails to those people. They have donors in their cities. And this is kind of where I want to pause and say, we know that libraries don't necessarily have the ability to accept donations online, and that's where Raisley kind of comes in as, just like us, we are providing all of this as an agency, but for free to our library partners, and Raisley has some good solutions too. I run up against so often libraries who say, I would really like to ease my online donation process or be able to take gifts online, but I just can't do it, and I'm a one-person shop, and how do I do it? So that's why it's been good to work with Chaz and Georgie on this. And then other libraries have been, you know, the more sophisticated ones are doing paid Google ads or are doing Facebook ads. Some of them are sending direct mail. And those are the ones that are really seeing the needle be moved. They're directly asking for gifts for their organization, and that's where they're really seeing the funds come in. So Chaz, if we could go to the next one. Okay, so in 2019, we had 89 libraries participate for just under $750,000. And you can see we ticked up. We did not think that we would exceed 2021 this year because you're a nonprofit. You've probably heard that there was tremendous giving in 2020 and 2021, but we really did. We actually had fewer organizations that reported back to us their results for the campaign, and we still had more giving. So in our minds, we know now that the communities that these libraries are in are starting to recognize the brand of Library Giving Day, that constant logo, the time of year, that early April timeframe, the ask that's being made. These are the people that really care and they're starting to support. So I hope next year we exceed this and raise $2 million for the libraries that participated. I can pause in case there are any questions, or I don't have to. Georgie, your call. Nope, okay, good. I'm here if you keep going.
Christina, just like if I may add and chime in, is I think what I heard and what I think is so important is not only is important, critical to get moving toward your Giving Day campaign, but you have to start somewhere.
Yes.
And that somewhere is not necessarily hitting it out of the park the first year.
Yes.
That these things take time. They take time to build momentum and really to inspire, or if not, make your supporters aware of that opportunity.
Yeah, and I'd like to cite that in two ways. I mean, you think about the start of Giving Tuesday back, I don't know, 10 plus years ago, what was Giving Tuesday?
Right.
It wasn't really anything. And now the general population outside of our nonprofit realm recognizes that as a day of giving. So that is a very obvious example. And then, success is, keep your expectations low. Success is what you make it. So if you just got an email out your first year, or you just worked with a couple of other nonprofits that are your same, perhaps you work with a type of nonprofit that has different sites in different cities, gang together, started out, write an email together. Sending one email on your day of giving is successful. Setting your day of giving is successful. Making a logo is successful. So yeah, starting from scratch.
And if I may, before we transition a little bit, I just put in the chat a resource from Nonprofit Tech for Good. So it's something I've gone back time after time. So thank you, Heather, and thank you to the team. You'll find all of the giving days that are available. If you want World Penguin Day, fantastic. If you want, bacon, World Bacon Day, you can do that too. The idea is creating something that resonates with your organization, your mission, and actually kind of driving toward an action and a closed date. So a little resource there. And now let's go ahead and turn over to Aiden from the Alley 40 Center. So Aiden, thank you.
Hi again. So the work that we do at the Ali Forney Center is really full service. Our programs not only include both emergency and long-term housing for our clients, but also mental and physical health care, employment assistance, and of course our meals and nutrition program, which feeds our clients 3 meals a day every day of the year. Our meals and nutrition program is really what spurred us starting the We Are Family Dance-a-thon. Our inaugural event will be held November 20th of this year, and it'll be a peer-to-peer fundraising event. My responsibility in getting all of this started, setting everything up for the event, was to find the platform that we'd be using. Our current CRM doesn't provide peer-to-peer fundraising capabilities, so I was looking for something that would really be flexible, customizable, and let our donors kind of self-drive their fundraising. So I was looking for a platform that had peer-to-peer fundraising capabilities with individual and team fundraisers, segmented messaging per profile, so we could really tailor messaging based on what level people are fundraising at. Then also for the dance-a-thon components, have attendee ticketing, be able to track check-in, and also turn our donors and participants into longer-term relationships outside of this one-day event. And after doing so much research, I found Raisely with their peer-to-peer fundraising templates, as well as the newly launched ticketing feature. It's really a perfect fit, and I'm excited for the event that'll be happening. Can go to the next slide.
Whoops. My apology.
So here's some screenshots of the site that my organization built with the peer-to-peer template. The full site's available at weareFamily.aliforneycenter.org. We have pages built out to detail what it means to fundraise, how you set up a page, how to best incentivize your relationships, and each page can be customized per fundraiser. You can see examples of that there. The level of customization is something that has impressed my team, and it's been incredibly easy for all of our donors to sign up and start fundraising right away. Something that I was concerned with when looking for a platform was, how do we capture the data that we need, not only as specifically a nonprofit that serves LGBTQ people, but also data that can translate across platforms and that we can use in the future. One way that we can collect information about all our participants is through custom fields in Raisely. You can build custom fields that not only apply to one campaign, but can also apply across the platform. So for example, I have the pronouns custom field, which is something that's really important to my organization so that we don't run the risk of misgendering our donors in the future. You can build out a custom field that has as many options as you want. It can be a free-form text field. I currently have it as a pick one field, and then people can reach out to me personally if they have another set of pronouns or something that they want in their record that I don't currently have listed. Another way that you can use custom fields would be for tribute information if you don't want to build out individual honor or memory forms per individual or organization. And then t-shirt sizes. We'll be collecting t-shirt sizes for our We Are Family event. So we can better estimate what size counts we need ahead of the event and don't order way too many extra smalls when really we needed 3XLs. And then given all of this information, I know that a big factor in data management, especially for fundraising and relationship management, is how does all of this information sync? Why would we start using a new platform whenever we already have a CRM that holds everything? The solution I found that's worked best for my organization so far is Zapier, a third-party tool, which I'm sure some of you are already using to make your platforms speak to each other. But it's been the biggest help in terms of my day-to-day data cleanup. Zapier can automate all your data cleanup. So we all know in the nonprofit world, garbage in, garbage out, and we have no control over what information donors put in forms. Zapier takes a lot of that field by field cleanup out of the picture. So cleaned data can be formatted and put right in your constituent or donation records. And then with custom fields, something that I've found helpful is the standardization of naming conventions between platforms, making sure that each field that you're using in one platform is mirrored in another. Here I have an example of a donation that was synced between Raisley and Bloomerang, my organization CRM. You can see all of the data has been mapped across the platforms. You can see that it's a We Are Family event donation to the profile of Zachary Cohen. It was a self-donation on his team. And then in the created information, you can see that Zapier created the gift. And then why is this all important to giving days? Raisley and Zapier, data standardization and synchronization, they all allow you to identify prospects to solicit specifically for giving days, matching opportunities, other fundraising incentives that you may hold throughout the year. Fundraising gets really busy at the end of the year. People are wanting to make contributions. Organizations are wanting to give to nonprofits before their budgets close out. So being able to organize your data and pull specific queries or lists based on it allows you to segment constituents and really exclude key donors that you want to solicit privately or manage their relationships in a more specified way. So you're not sending out blanket appeals and maybe souring a relationship that had the potential to grow.
Fantastic, Ada. Thank you so much. You know, the thing that really comes to me and I'm going to share with you quickly is the fact that we often think about campaigns, we think about the imagery, we think about the story, and that's all so incredibly important. But until you can tie together on the back end with the data flow and the organizational management, you know, a campaign can't be successful. And more importantly, as Christina had shared, not just successful this year, but years to come. So really ensuring that you get the pieces together, back of the office pieces aligned to ensure and position the organization for success in the years to come. Great. Now I think it's an opportunity to go ahead and transition to Justine to bring it all home from the marketing side. So Justine, thank you for being here.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, thank you for having me. So I'm talking today about our Move for Her campaign, which is a month-long initiative. So we used to have a race a few years ago, and with the pandemic and with the saturation of the race market, we decided it was time to move to a different kind of annual fundraising campaign model. So we decided to leverage the month of September, which is Gynecological Awareness Month, and really use it as an opportunity to reach out to our various groups and constituencies to get them involved and help them feel like they are part of the movement of building gynecological awareness and fundraising for research and advocacy. So Move for Her is a month-long event that is a month of movement, we call it. Every day, we ask that participants do 5 minutes of movement to represent the 5 kinds of gynecological cancer. So our model is we ask folks to register via Raisely. We chose Raisely for a lot of reasons. We had been using a different platform last year that just wasn't particularly user-friendly. It wasn't really working for us. And so I was also tasked with finding a new platform for this year. We really loved how flexible it was on our end as far as design went, and how easy it was to put together a website that looked good and was usable. We loved how the cost structure works and how donors can make the choice to cover fees when they're registering or when they're making a donation. And our host committee and our board was just really excited about the fact that Raisely also didn't charge us in addition to the regular platform fees that come along with online donations. So we have folks register online. They also can build out their own profiles. They can create teams when they start. And one of our biggest constituencies are, of course, cancer survivors and their community members. And this model allows them to be a part of the movement to build awareness around and abolish gynecological cancer. And it also allows their communities to feel like they are supporting them while also being part of a bigger movement. And there's just we see a lot of groups form around this model where, they can support either an individual or a group, or some communities will have their own individual event and they can create a page for it in Raisely. And there's just so many ways that people get creative and use the peer-to-peer model to do what means the most to them. So, there's a lot of third-party events. People have tennis matches. They have their own races, and they can have their own goals either for themselves or their teams. And that's another thing that people have been really receptive to, is being able to decide who they are supporting. We get a lot of messages from people saying, oh, I meant to put it towards, this group, but I also wanted it to count towards this person's goal. And there's a lot of flexibility there. And so we've really been happy with that. And so another big constituency for us are our corporate sponsors. And those are relationships that we cultivate throughout the year. So when Move for Her comes around, we do already have those relationships in place, but being able to have the opportunity to approach new corporate sponsors and pharmaceutical companies with opportunities for sponsorship has also been really great for us. We've brought on a few new sponsors this year just by using Move for Her. So a lot of the funding for the event overall comes via these sponsorship opportunities. We have 9 of them. They range from 5 to 100,000. There are a lot of opportunities for them to get some recognition based upon whatever level they enter at. So, we put their brand logos on various materials. We have a box that gets sent out to all registrants, and that is an opportunity for brands to say, we'd love to be on the t-shirt, or, we would love to create a calendar for you all to put into the box that has our brand on it, or, we'd like to be on the box. And then we, of course, do a lot of social media marketing, and that is another opportunity. This example here, we were able to have we can have a certain number of social media postings that include a specific brand, and we thank them for their support and put out there that they're a part of this movement and that they're creating their own teams, because it shows that they are really a part of what we are doing rather than just kind of giving money. And they, of course, as a part of their sponsorship, they also get a certain number of comped registrations, and that allows them to create teams for, you know, their colleagues and to get involved in that way as well. And something that has also been really great about Raisley, a new function, has been their comp registration function that I was waiting very eagerly for. And it just it streamlines the whole process of managing our relationships with those sponsors, just being able to give them a comp code and let them go on and not have to do a, you know, back end workaround for sponsor registrations. Yeah.
Great. Justine, fantastic. You know what, the thing that always impressed and inspired me about the work you all are doing is the ability to transition, kind of be nimble from what has been historically, you know, an in-person event or a, you know, potentially a more, you know, traditional, and then move toward the activity-based and sort of virtual, and now a little bit of a combination. So the notion and the idea of actually taking those first steps and kind of enter and walk into this new world is pretty phenomenal. So kudos to you and the team and really jumping in there. I think one thing in particular that is a question, if I may, as we wrap up, is you know, those corporate sponsors, how do you engage them? How are they involved in the campaign, and if not after the campaign, because they're so big in giving days or any campaign really, from a relationship management, if not a match opportunity or just a continued investment of time and resources?
Yeah, I mean, again, that is a year-long cultivation opportunity for us. But for these events specifically, you know, it's great and exciting for them to be able to be a part of a month-long movement. So we definitely propose it to them in that way. And, you know, it allows the opportunity to open up the conversation. We have a lot of these relationships that are based upon more like field work and research and things like that. And this allows for the opportunity to open up a conversation between, you know, just the foundation and the sponsors. And we have ongoing conversations with them weekly about things that they would like to do to either build out their teams more or, you know, be a part of any kind of ongoing communications that are going out to registrants. So we really do work with them ongoing throughout the campaign to help them get their brands out there and, you know, get recognition for how they are participating in the work that we're doing in an ongoing way.
Fantastic, fantastic. I love it. Yeah, and I think just kind of bring it home a little bit, at least, you know, that corporate piece of it, which is so important, as Aiden, you've shared, Christina, as you know all too well, you know, that partnership with community leaders, community partners, board members, companies, so critical for any match or a peer-to-peer campaign. And so whether it's in person or virtual, so really thinking about, I think, those corporate, you know, sponsors, if not major donors or champions in the community. We're going to transition a little bit, and then we're going to open up some questions. Please go ahead and enter any questions in the audio or in the Q&A box. But what I'm going to attempt to do and kind of look at a recap. I'm going to ask my colleagues here to keep me honest, since they haven't seen this. But I'm attempting to summarize a little bit and sort of our takeaways. The biggest thing is don't wait until your given day or any campaign to promote and engage your super fans. Kind of number one takeaway. Start now. Think about Giving Tuesday. It is not that far away, as I'm sure you're already planning for year end or other campaign opportunities. Social and email, as Christina had shared, those are digital channels. Those are relatively cheap. Those are accessible. Leverage your presence to reach those audiences. Again, those audiences, digitally inclined, maybe even digitally native, are going to be far more receptive to different channels that you may be reaching out to them, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, however you're incorporating those social. Even with We Are Family and the campaign which was shared, the dance-a-thon, It's a fantastic opportunity to really focus in on the audience. I love it. Personalization, especially a part of Show Me You Know Me. Heard that many years in the public media world. Use those custom fields to really understand where your audience members are coming from, who are they, and how do you want to treat them moving forward. So we're not just thinking about the great pictures and the campaign summary and the positioning, we're thinking about the back office, and that's critical. Sometimes not as exciting, but so incredibly important. Toolkits, making it easy for the first year, get going, allowing your audience to participate in a very easy way. Give them snippets what to communicate. Give them blurbs, imagery, share what you can do in partnership with them. Lastly, I loved the work from sponsors and Foundation for Women's Cancer. As Justine had shared around Champions, utilizing those sponsors to fuel the giving, extend that reach. Sponsorship is one thing, but your sponsors come in different shapes and forms. They could be major donors, they could be board members, they could community leaders. All those individuals could really help drive participation and also even contribute potentially to the match opportunity if you so use one at year end or giving on your giving day. Lastly, and kind of my top tips, and I'm going to steal this shamelessly a bit from a previous webinar. We had a guest, Kat Murphy from Giving Tuesday, and I think this has resonated inside and outside of Raisley as far as thinking about some of the #1 digital tactic, calendar invite. Loved it. So thinking for your giving day is setting up those calendar invites. What does that look like? How does that look like? From the back office and the data management piece to actually implementing what that means for your organization. Peer-to-peer giving days are not a single day of giving anymore. As I think Christina mentioned, there are no longer one days. In 2008, yes, it was all built up to that one day after Thanksgiving. Get it? Well, it's moved on. The giving day is growing up. Now it's modern opportunity. It's a modern day in which peer-to-peer is a part of it. So it is incredibly important to incorporate the peer-to-peer in all your giving day activities. Giving day, Giving Tuesday, whatever it may be. Follow-up donor acquisition is great, but what's next? That continuing relationship being key here. Lead time, again, kind of further reiterate, and don't wait for that giving day. Start now. As I think everybody here has shared and we continue to emphasize. Lastly, DIY, do it yourself. Know where to stay, no problem, create your own. There are plenty of great days to be had that you can piggyback on and really leverage, showcase, or create your own. What's unique to your organization, to your constituency? Elevate that special piece of what makes your constituency connect with your organization. So with that, let's go ahead. I think I see a couple questions have come in. What's the best month for a given day? Should nonprofits create their own theme, date, or tap into a given day already known? Touched on it a little bit, but I think maybe Christina, I can ask you just to expand upon kind of what you see at Carl Bloom and kind of what you would recommend to an organization who is looking at this.
Sure. I would say that not December, because you have year-end giving then anyway. So something strong is going on then, no need to insert a giving day. And not November, because sometimes Giving Tuesday is in the month of November. I would look at maybe some of the quieter months that you don't have a lot of fundraising going on and work over the years to build a momentum around a giving day campaign. So if you are currently doing some successful campaigns, just look at the year and when things are quiet and insert a giving day then. It will pay off down the road. And I would also say, look at your city and when they are having a giving day. If your city already has a giving day that you participate, make your own many months later down the road. Insert your own at a different time.
Love that. In fact, finding what exists today, piggybacking on that, but also diversifying by thinking what another day could be or an opportunity. Aiden and Justine, if I may ask, I mean, you all, I don't believe, correct me if I'm wrong, haven't necessarily explored a giving day. You're doing so much with with campaigns and diversifying the offering today. What is the temperature for giving days at the organization, or even Giving Tuesday, which is a given day, of course? Maybe Aiden. Gotta open it up to both of you. Aiden, can I ask you that question?
Yeah, I think at this point in time, I've been with the organization about a year now, so I'm just seeing what a full calendar year looks like in terms of our fundraising cycle. We're more events oriented in terms of mobilizing our local community. Our work and our donor base are both so community oriented. Being able to gather virtually or physically is something that's really valuable for our work. In terms of giving days, I know that we haven't done any historically, but I hosted any historically, but I know we've benefited from outside giving days. Yeah, so I will be proposing giving days in the future to my org, but in terms of actually doing them right this moment, we tend to be more events oriented.
That makes sense, and nothing like putting you on the spot for a Giving Day and your next Giving Day campaign. There's a lot of opportunities, right? It's always about kind of what can you sustain and create and build today. Thinking about that, I think the next question that came in is, Justine, if I may ask, and I know Christina, you have some thoughts here, but should nonprofits spend on social media ads for Giving Days? How much do you all, and would you recommend it?
We personally spend money on social
Campaigns.
media advertising. We do spend on that specifically for Move for Her, because that is so much of what drives people to the campaign. We also don't do a regular giving day at this time. We are still a pretty new foundation, and we have definitely been having that conversation. I know our leadership felt like some of the existing giving days were already really crowded with other organizations, and we didn't want to get lost in that. So we're trying to come up with some creative ways to do that. But I think if it makes sense in a return on investment kind of way, if you feel like the campaign will bring in enough to cover it, I think that paying for social media advertising is a great tool to use.
Absolutely. And just on that, well, let me pause there. Christina, I'm sure you've got some thoughts there and kind of ad spend and think you through kind of from an agency mindset. How do you consult, or how do you start if an organization's getting?
Yeah, that's a good question. And the first thing we always say to an organization is, do you have a Google grant? If you don't currently have a Google grant, apply for one. Also, you can email me if you are having any hard times with that. We have a Google grant expert that can kind of walk you through things. But if you do have a Google grant and you aren't spending the full $10,000 of free money every single month, that is a key indicator. You could work on that before you expend like true payment to Google or Facebook. I would say that if you did want to do true paid ads, things like Facebook for a couple $100 a month, Google search and display for a couple $100 a month. You could even do some YouTube ads for just a couple $100. So if you want to start small, but there are a few things like, make sure your Google Analytics is up and running. It can be kind of daunting, but I would say, yes, it's a good thing to do around your giving day. Just allocate a little bit of money, learn from it, and then build as the years go on.
Brilliant. I think just with that, with any organization, I'd offer, there's a cultural learning, and Justine and Aiden, new organization, an organization that's been around, Aiden, for some time, but venturing in a whole new world, peer-to-peer, and we are family. How, like, thinking through those first steps, where the culture of testing and experimentation and like failing. That's a taboo world in our world. That's a taboo word in our world, but yet it's so incredibly important. Does that come up in any conversation, Christina, or sorry, Justine or Aiden? The failure piece of it. Well, what if we don't make our money back? Or how do you respond to that from a kind of a program standpoint?
I think that's the that's the virtue, one of the virtues of being a younger organization. We are very open to failure and understanding that we are definitely going to fail because we are trying so many things for the first time. You know, I think that you definitely want to have your bread and butter revenue streams that you can count on. But when it comes to, you know, these newer, more innovative ideas, I think you have to go into it with a brain space of, you know, this may not work and that's okay. And if it doesn't, we can try something again next month or next year. But I really think you have to be willing to fail to learn some of the new opportunities and models for particularly peer-to-peer fundraising.
Absolutely. Aiden, any last thoughts on your end on that front, or?
Yeah, I think that the possibility that our event may not perform in the way that we wanted it to is a huge part of why I propose Raisely as the platform we go with. There is no contract for us, which meant that our annual budget or what we allocate towards fundraising software is not on the line based on the performance of this event. There's no net neutral to meet when using Raisely without having a contract or monthly cost or any kind of fees rather than the usual processing fees.
That's a great point. And actually a question pops up around fee structure. We're happy to talk about that offline and kind of a tip model. Basically, Raisely, a for-purpose social enterprise. We're B Corp. We rely on the generosity of donors who are asked to leave a 3.85% tip or fee, depending on how you want to look at it, to the donation. If they say yes and leave that box checked, fantastic. That goes direct to Raisely. If they say no, that's fine too. 100% of the donation still goes to the organization. And so that's very much an important part, is that we assume the risk, we assume the risk very much, as Aiden had said, because that allows organizations to test, trial without the fear of failing. And so a little bit about that, happy to dig more into that. If any other questions? Yeah, well, I think that may be, if there's any kind of last thoughts, any last tips, we can wrap up. But, you know, Christina, can I put you on the spot and kind of what's the one thing that you would advocate or recommend to attendees as far as, you know, to start now, to do today in preparation for year end or the next Giving Tuesday or next Giving Day? Or
I would say don't be afraid to try your own giving day. And if you feel like you might get pushed back, something I wrote down when we were talking about testing a minute ago was manage your manager. That's the term, which means if you think your board or bosses are going to be looking for your giving day to instantly have success, manage their expectations, just ask for a little bit of extra money for this project you're going to be doing, and be bold and go forward. There's no harm. And always think that your audience does want to hear from you. Anybody that's giving to you, you're likely one of their top 3 favorite nonprofits, the research shows. So be ready to ask them again and again because they love you and they're willing to support. And you may not just be asking them enough. So I think a giving day is another opportunity. So go forward, friends, give it a try.
Justine, any last thoughts, parting wisdom? Quick takeaway for folks?
Yeah, I agree. And I have to say that Raisely is a great tool to use if you want to try out some new ideas, because the stakes aren't very high. And we've definitely done that as well, tried to set up some new campaign or, you know, even opportunities for board giving and memorial giving using Raisely. And it is great to be able to put something together, test it out, see how it goes, and, you know, not feel like it's a sunk cost.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Aiden, any parting thoughts, wisdom? Data guru here.
I don't know about wisdom. Yeah, I would just say that if you're looking to collect information specific to your organization, Raisely is a great way to do that with the level of customization per campaign or for your organization in general. Thank you. Sorry. Yeah, I think that is mostly it. The ease of integration with Zapier and CRMs like Bloomerang, Salesforce, and Mighty Cause is unmatched.
Wow, fantastic. Thanks, Aiden. Well, just with that, I think we're gonna go ahead and wrap up. Thank you to all our presenters, and I'm gonna transition it over to Heather, who will have a quick goodbye, final goodbye.